and ça c'est deuxième Chanel and Zodiac. We are going to be talking about zodiac signs and astrology. Now, I actually started talking about zodiac signs on my main channel, but I've decided I'm going to be doing that more so on this channel because I feel like the subject matter fits this channel a lot better. So with that being said, comment down below, what is your zodiac sign? I am a Capricorn, and I'm not going to tell y'all my other signs because that is very dangerous. So a couple of disclaimers before we get started with this video, okay? Because I'm tired of seeing people do this, and for those of you guys who believe in astrology, believe in zodiac signs just like I do, it is dangerous to tell people what your rising and your moon and to just like be out here willy-nilly posting your birth charts and getting readings and pulling numerology or whatever from anybody. Understand, if people know all of those things about you, they can use them to manipulate you, and not everyone is an astrologer. Not everyone has the power to pull cards, despite your favorite YouTubers doing it now. Not everyone has the power to tell everyone their destiny. Not everyone has the power to be out here telling everyone what they are capable of doing in this world. So please stop willy-nilly publicly telling people what all of your signs are. Anybody who does readings, anyone in the spiritual world will tell you it is the safest thing to do. Also, for those of you guys who do not believe in this, clearly this video is not for you. I would like the comment section to remain positive. For those of you who are religious and believe that this is demonic, this video is not for you. But if you are curious, if this is something that you always would like to hear about, something that you were curious about, something that you genuinely want more information about, I would ask that you actually watch this video to the end, because there's lots of information that I found out about that I knew nothing about, like the whole history and the background of astrology and zodiac signs is a lot deeper than a lot of people really know about. It goes in depth, okay, from ancestors to historical events. Astrology has been something that has helped throughout the centuries, okay? If it wasn't for astrology, there's a lot of things that wouldn't be how it is today. Regardless of if you think it's demonic or if you think that it's fake, at the end of the day, there's certain things that cannot be explained and have come to fruition because of astrologers, because of zodiac signs, because of readings. So at the end of the day, I'm sure you will be thoroughly entertained and you will learn something new from this video. Now, of course, smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, smash every button you know that can help a sister out. And special thank you to my sponsor, Ft.Tikone Official. They sent me this beautiful luxury dupe, okay? This is a dupe Louis Vuitton bag. They make luxury dupe bags, y'all, and they have some amazing selections on their website. Like, y'all, I was so shocked when I saw this come in the mail, and I'm definitely gonna tell you guys more on that later. We're gonna get straight into the zodiac signs, and most importantly, for those of you guys who be watching my videos, nous pas foutre commenter rien, I'm looking at you, comment. Thank you very much. There's so many of y'all that be watching and y'all don't comment. We're just gonna give you like 5 seconds to comment something, because I know you still didn't comment. So another 5 seconds. Thank you very much. So let's get straight into it. So of course, some definitions. Now, the definition of zodiac is as follows. According to Google, the definition of zodiac is a belt of the heavens within 8 degrees either side of the ecliptic, including all apparent positions of the sun, moon, and most familiar planets. It is divided into 12 equal divisions or signs: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. And the definition of astrology, according to Britannica, is type of divination that involves the forecasting of earthly and human events through the observation and interpretation of the fixed stars, the sun, the moon, and the planets. Devotees believe that an understanding of the influence of the planets and stars on earthly affairs allows them to both predict and affect the destinies of individuals, groups, and nations. Though often regarded as science, throughout history, astrology is widely considered today as the diametrically opposed to the findings of theories of modern Western science. Now, this whole argument of the science real, is religion combating, very interesting. With most things that I research for this channel is most of the time I go in knowing that a lot of people are going to demonize it. A lot of people are are going to say that it is horrible, it's not scientific, it's demonic, rah, 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 rah. And most of the time when I hear demonic, I think pagan. People don't believe in it because it is not of God. In this case, it is extremely different. Astrology is something that has been widely accepted since its inception until modern time, which is completely different from most practices that we hear about, especially in Europe. It is actually one of the very few things that our ancestors practiced literally from the dawn of time all over the world, okay? I'm talking about from Europe to freaking Mexico to like Africa, like literally it's all over, and it was widely accepted from peasants to the royals. It is in the Bible, yes. There is absolutely no trace where astrology begins, because at the end of the day, there's traces of astrology, zodiacs, and all of that in every culture throughout history around the world. So realistically, a lot of scientists and historians kind of date it all the way back to the Chaldean people. Now understand, now the ancient people who lived in Chaldea in 800 BC were thought to develop zodiacs, and they ruled Babylonia from 600 to 500 BC, and they were renowned astrologers. That was their real thing. And you guys are probably like, okay, but what race were they? I don't want to say we don't know, but realistically, the Chaldeans are Chaldean. That's it. They don't necessarily say that they're white, but realistically, they're modern day Middle Eastern, and most of them today would call themselves Assyrian or Assyrian. But they originate from modern day Mesopotamia, southeast modern day Turkey, and northeast Syria, which of course is considered white, Caucasian, but so most of them are usually credited with the whole creation of zodiacs and astrology. There's remnants of the practice all over throughout history. So everyone who is saying that is not necessarily wrong, but it is widely misinterpreted, and it is misinterpreted because the people that say this, just like with everything else, it is not necessarily saying that, okay, everyone that says this is damned, even though that is what the scriptures say. Many people who practiced astrology at the time, and just like with everything else, kind of fucked it up, right?
In 1932, archaeologists unearthed a 4th century synagogue in Israel. In the very center of the temple, they find a beautiful mosaic of the Zodiac. Its discovery baffles scholars who have long believed that astrology was strictly forbidden in Judaism.
There shall not be found among you any that practice divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, for all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. Deuteronomy 18:10.
If Judaism frowned upon astrology, how then did this zodiac become the centerpiece of a synagogue? Some scholars now believe that, contrary to long-held belief, astrology may not have been forbidden in ancient Israel.
The relationship of the ancient Hebrews or Israelites with astrology is a rather complicated one. What the Bible actually condemns is the worship of stars as if they were God. The Bible has absolutely no problem with the idea of the stars being the messenger of God or symbols of the will of God.
We get a power, right? We discover something, we start doing something, we're like, oh my God, I know how to do this. Oh my God, I could tell the future. Why should I pray? God takes too long. God does not want you to replace him with the stars, with witchcraft. God does not want you to replace him with voodoo. God doesn't want you to replace him with anything. He wants to be the only God. The scripture, just like everything in the Bible, is left to interpretation, but a lot of people kind of interpret it wrong. Most of the time, astrology, along with these other tools that are in the supernatural realm, are supposed to be used as guidance. They're supposed to be used as tools and messengers of God, not to replace God. But a lot of people do use it as replacements of God, and since the dawn of time have used them as replacements of God. So for the most part, there's a lot of people that I feel like are justified in that sense, because it's like, yeah, if you're gonna replace it, if you know you don't have a belief in God and you're just gonna believe, okay, well, I'm a Capricorn and you know my birth chart says this and da 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 da, okay, it makes sense. I completely understand that. But for the most part, you should never demonize somebody's belief in the stars or astrology or in their zodiac, because at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that they don't believe in God. It doesn't mean that they don't have faith in God. They just believe in the stars. They believe in their birth path, their birth chart, their birthright, as well as the will of God. Just like other things that other people may use as messages from God, angels, ancestors, whatever it is, because they have a closer path to God. Always research and look into whatever it is you've been told since you were a kid. Because I guarantee you, you're gonna learn something new. Whether you believe it or not, you're gonna learn something new, or you're going to learn why it is that who and such has been telling you and drilling something into your mind for your entire life. And that's why I made this channel, so people could challenge their beliefs and learn, okay, because a lot of people don't know why they regurgitate things. I'm very sure there's at least 10 people in my comment section that they didn't even fucking watch the video, and they literally, God is truth, God is power, Zodiacs are demonic, and they didn't watch shit. Most of y'all are not gonna read any of the sources, watch any of the videos that I link down below. So when it comes to zodiac signs, they have been used for centuries as a tool to determine one's destiny. And it was very serious back in the day, to the point where if you were born on a certain day at a certain time, and literally that chart said you were supposed to be, you know, dying for the king's will because he had to kill you as a sacrifice, best believe you was gonna be proud to die as the king's sacrifice. Like, it was more so used to basically determine one's destiny, just like what we would now determine as birth charts. Like, this was something that was used for power. Who would die next? Who would take the throne after such and such died? This is why everyone took this extremely serious. Now, when it comes to modern day zodiac, I don't know what the fuck these people be doing, because it's not the same. A lot of people just mainly go by their sun signs, but of course we all know it goes a lot deeper than your sun sign. When you know exactly what time you were born, you're able to get a birth chart made, and your birth chart literally lays out your entire life. Now, funny enough, I actually got a birth chart made, and basically, apparently, I'm on my last life. And I'm one of those people, I believe in reincarnation. I believe everyone does die and come back until they get whatever it is right. If you are supposed to be a pop star and you're not a pop star, bitch, you coming back until you become a pop star. Like, I believe that's just one of my personal beliefs. I believe a little bit of everybody's religion, a little bit of everybody's spiritual beliefs. So yeah, apparently, according to my birth chart, I'm on my last life. It's funny, but it's not funny. I was very annoyed when I got my birth chart made, because now it's like, oh shit, it's pressure. It's pressure. I got this made, I believe, when I was like 18, 19. Apparently, your birth chart is basically supposed to lay out everything. It tells you what career paths you're gonna be good at, essentially what your personality is, what your strengths and weaknesses are. Funny enough, if you get a birth chart made properly from the right astrologer, it will lay out everything strategically. When I'm telling y'all, my birth chart is me to the T. It's scary. Like, it's eerie, but at the same time, I'm textbook definition of a Capricorn. It's actually very weird. Like, I didn't think the whole birth chart thing was real. Like, I never even heard of a birth chart until college. Like, I never knew what that was. I always just heard about zodiacs. And when I did the whole birth chart thing, that's when I started looking into numerology and all that other stuff and the whole spirituality realm. And I'm like, oh wow, this shit is eerie. Birth charts have been something that have been made for centuries, okay, by royal families and just, you know, regular common people. People truly believe in these. Are these real? Is this something that people could really depend on? I got some stories for you. Now, of course, we all know baby Jesus, okay? Now, a lot of people probably think there's absolutely nothing astrology based with Jesus, okay? This is the Son of God, be that said. Well, again, like I said, challenge your beliefs and always look into things. There's lots of different stories with the baby of Jesus that are very questionable. I actually want to do a video on different theories of baby Jesus, because there's a lot, especially that whole Egyptian theory. Ooh, child, we're not gonna get into that right now, but we're just gonna stick to this one. So of course we have that whole story of the three wise men. The three wise men saw the North Star of Bethlehem, and you know, they followed the star of Bethlehem, right? So a lot of people always question, especially historians and scientists, like, first of all, what star were they following? What constellation was this? Even though now it's 2022, you can still trace back the solar movements. So they did some digging, which is crazy. That's a lot of digging, but they did some digging, and they were like, okay, so who are these three wise men? And they actually, there's a theory, it's not set in stone, that these three wise men could have been astrologers. And apparently this star that was leading into Bethlehem or whatever was not a star. It was basically Jupiter and Saturn in Pisces. Basically, it was the two planets aligning together that created a really, really bright illusion of a star, and they chose to follow it. And they thought thought that following it would lead them to a baby that would be all of salvation. And even deeper to this whole conspiracy, Christmas is cold. It's cold everywhere for the most part, unless you're in California, and even at that, it's cold for them. You know, we all know Jesus was not born in December, so it was likely warmer, and they had a long journey ahead, and they knew they had this whole like prophecy, like, you know, if follow this star, we're going to find the Messiah. He chased it back to August 22nd, 7 BC. He's like, that could have been when Jesus was born. Now, of course, we know Jesus was not born in nobody December. We know it was definitely a warmer month. Scientists have always said it had to be between the spring and summer, so they're like, okay, it could have been that time. So apparently scientists, astrologers got together and they made a birth chart, and apparently this birth chart eerily amazing for someone to be born on that day. Whoever would be born August 22nd, 7 BC, not knowing the time, because you need the time to really make a birth chart, but not knowing the time, would have the makings of someone who would change the world. And I mean, hey, baby Jesus, if he existed, because we all know there's people that don't even believe Jesus existed. Plausible theory that astrology is real. Now you guys probably like, okay, next story. We have Queen Elizabeth. Now, if you guys are into, you know, English history, there's a lot of drama there, so we're just gonna cut this one up. I'm gonna try to give you guys a little mini history lesson. So we have King Henry VIII of England in the 16th century. He had a daughter, Princess Elizabeth, but she had a bitter older sister who was basically deemed as an illegitimate child. Her name was Queen Mary. Her mom was basically not able to give King Henry VIII a child. King Henry VIII was like, all right, you know what? I want to get this marriage annulled so I could get a new wife, so I could get a son. He wanted a son. After picking up another wife, he produced another child named Queen Elizabeth. Her mother was beheaded when she was accused of treason and a whole bunch of other shit. So now he was left with 2 daughters and no male heir. Regardless, Queen Elizabeth and Queen Mary, they was beefing. Mainly because Queen Mary, because her mom was not able to produce King Henry an heir, King Henry was just a bitch, okay? He was mean to her. He was really trying to illegitimize her, clearly by divorcing her mom, and he did, well, not divorce, annulling the marriage between her and her mom, which would threaten her role to the crown. To speed things up, she fucked around and had Queen Elizabeth thrown in jail. Yes, literally, house arrest. House arrest her, threw her in the dungeon, and as a desperate plea to see what was gonna happen, she had an astrologer draw up her birth chart to see what was happening. You know, she wanted to know, like, listen, am I gonna die here, or like what's next? So she had astrologer John Dee draw up her chart. Now John Dee was popping at the time, okay? Like, he was a known astrologer, he was a scientist, he had helped Galileo with his little telescope, whatever. Like, he was lit, he was popping. But he was confused when he had got summoned to do this birth chart, because he's like, why is the royal family asking me for a birth chart? But hey, listen, he's summoned. I'm gonna write this birth chart. Nothing gonna happen to you. You're not gonna die, my lady, but you're gonna be queen. Next day, Queen Mary dies. Queen Elizabeth becomes queen, and John Dee becomes royal astrologer and advises her with all her decisions. And on top of that, Queen Elizabeth reigns for like 45 years. Coincidence? I don't know. Crazy. Now we see astrology move to the Western world. Now, when it comes to the Western world, you know, America, we wasn't, America said we got our own powers, okay? America was not having it. America said we don't have time for this shit. But this is when we have Evangeline Adams, okay? Evangeline Adams came to America, and she ain't come to play, all right? So she came to New York City in 1899, and she stayed in the Windsor Hotel in New York City. I don't know where Evangeline Adams came from in terms of her background. Comment down below if you guys know more about that. I didn't want to look into her background too much. I feel like this video would have been way too long. But the Windsor Hotel was a very, very affluent hotel. But anyways, she stayed there, and while she was there, the owner of the hotel asked, you know, for her to do a reading. And basically she said, you know, there's a lot of tragedy in your very near future. And he was skeptical, and he kind of laughed it off. And the next day, the hotel burned down. Again, you guys are probably like, coincidence. Coincidence or not, this whole situation blew her up. She got her own radio show. show weekly. Okay, she was out here doing the damn thing. She was doing her astrological prophecies on the air every week. People were knocking on her office doors non-stop daily in Carnegie Hall. She was famous literally overnight based off this one prediction, and every single prediction she made after that came true until New York was not having it. Like I said, Western culture was not ready for this shit. They were terrified. They did not like it. They thought it was demonic. They thought it was evil. They thought it was unnatural. She gets arrested for a very weird law called fortune teller fraud. Okay, she could have just paid the fine and went about her business, but she said pay on, yeah, I'm not paying anything. I'm gonna take this to court. So she takes it to court, and everybody is kind of annoyed that, you know, like, you're wasting tax dollars for this, but people really believed in her. Like I'm telling you, she had a very, very massive fan base. So now at this point, fortune telling, astrology, zodiacs is in court. Like all of this is literally in the spotlight. Like now it's like, okay, so is astrology real? And I feel like this whole case essentially put everything on the spotlight and made everyone really, really believe in astrology more. And if this story don't convince y'all that astrology is real, I don't know what will. So now at this point, they wanted to test her power in the court of law. So the judge basically gives her a test of identifying a random person's birth chart, essentially, like a birth profile, astrology profile. And you know, she's reading it and she's like, okay, well, this person will die tragically of a young death by water. And yeah, it's basically the judge's son. And it was the judge's son.
She renders a detailed personality profile from the birth chart, ending in a prediction that the individual will face an early death from water. Only then does the astonished judge reveal that the horoscope is that of his own son, who had recently died in a swimming accident. The judge admits that Adams' profile is uncannily accurate and proclaims from the bench that she has raised astrology to a science. The case is dismissed.
Defendant dismissed.
Could there have been more to Adams' predictions than simple luck? The scientists still scoff. She has incredibly proven the effectiveness of astrology in a court of law.
I was done. I was like, oh hell no. So yeah, her shit got dismissed. She was right. It was the judge's son who had died not too long ago of a swimming accident. So the case was dismissed. Ever since then, it was pretty solidified in the US. Evangeline Adams went on to basically give her readings and captivate the world. She remained pretty famous from what I could tell. And of course, there's been other readers and astrologers and everything pop up from like different areas of the world. A lot of these people are actually pretty legitimate, but of course, we have the fakes. Now we're gonna get into why people think this is evil. Now, of course, we have the whole religion thing. We already discussed that. And of course, now we're gonna get into my sponsor, my lovely bag. I love this bag, and it even comes with this. Look at this. Isn't it so cute? Oh my god, y'all, like unboxing this was so cute. Oh, yo, this low-key look real. This is cute. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. Ew, nah, this shit look too authentic. Yo. This shit looks so good. Now, this is the smaller version. I wanted the bigger version, but you know, we can't all get what we want. I didn't think it was gonna look this real. And it's all together. It is perfect. We just gotta make sure we stretch this part out. It felt like I really went to the Louis Vuitton bag. Now you guys probably like, why didn't you just get the real thing? I have real bags, y'all. I have real bags, but sometimes it's like, why do I have to pay $2,000 for a bag when I could pay $200? Certain bags is like, it's not worth paying, especially when I'm not gonna wear it every day. And I was shocked how real this feels. I'm not even gonna stunt. And of course, this is the never full, so you can fit a lot into this bag. And the straps feel really, really nice. The hardware feels very, very nice. Like, I was shocked. Okay, this is a bag I've been wanting for a minute. I have a smaller Louis Vuitton bag. It's like a little bucket one. It's a vintage one. Like, I love this purse though. Like, you can't even tell, bro. I'll be carrying my laptop in this. You know, anytime I'm trying to just like go somewhere and just throw shit in my purse or whatever. Make sure you guys go check out Ft.Tikone official. Like, it is amazing. I really, really, really recommend them if you guys just want luxury dupes or whatever. Listen, don't ever be ashamed, okay? Save your coins. And of course, you will get a luxury one. I promise you, bro. I promise you, nobody will ever be able to tell. It literally doesn't cost as much as the original, and you get the same look, the same feel, the same quality. Honestly, it feels the same. It's just as heavy. It's not light. Definitely head down to the description and or the pinned comment down below to go shop today. Okay, so of course the main issue here and why a lot of people think it's evil is that a lot of people feel like foreshadowing is evil in itself. The whole idea of knowing what the future holds, the idea of foreshadowing is not godlike. No human should know what their future holds. No human should know what is to come. That is for God to know. God's will is what's God's will. No human should have that type of power. And then of course you have that whole idea of this all comes from the gods, okay? Not necessarily God, but the gods. Now, I will tell you that no one really knows where this comes from, right? There's no real set in stone idea of where astrology comes from. No one really knows, because at the end of the day, I feel like from what I'm understanding, there's different cultures that have their own type of prophecy, astrology, and zodiacs. So realistically speaking, no one could really say it's of the gods and not God. So I think that kind of argument is inept. And of course, let's be real, a bunch of people telling you bad things may happen in your life, a lot of people are gonna be fucking terrified, especially when it happens. But that's why a lot of modern day astrologers and fortune tellers and stuff like that are not gonna tell you bad things. Who's telling you this is manipulating energy to make these bad things happen to you. So when you go to a reader, when you go get cards pulled, when you get numerology, whatever case may be, that person is manipulating energy to make things happen for you. Or the gods or God is essentially making these things happen because the person said it. The person literally is reading the stars and it's all in the stars. Or like, there's so many ways you can spin this, because at the end of the day, these things do happen. And most of these readers are telling the truth. Where they're getting the truth from, we don't know. Can it be from the devil? Who knows? Because there are readers that are of the devil. We have like things that are, I remember back in the day there were seers, I believe, readers that are from the devil, that, you know, you had to drink their blood and all that. Child, I'm not even getting into that. It's hard to tell because a lot of people are fakers, okay, and we're gonna get into that. So honestly, this whole idea of, oh, anyone can pull cards, anyone can do numerology, anyone can be an astrologist is fucking bullshit. Y'all need to stop this shit right the fuck now. I don't understand why. And who told y'all this? And why that makes sense to anyone. It's worse than the idea of anyone could be a witch. Anyone could do voodoo. No, that does not make any sense. Stop telling people that bullshit. Anyone cannot do anything. That's not how this works, okay? Not everyone have the discipline, but not everyone has that calling. Not everyone has the bloodline. Not everyone has that pure energy in order to draw that divinity from God to be able to receive the messages. Okay, that's not how any of this works. Stop going on your YouTube channels doing fucking readings for people you've never fucking met. We doing a whole damn reading for a rapist for all we know. Okay, like, y'all need to be very, very careful who you interacting with, who you doing readings for. And on top of that, stop giving voluntary information to people that you don't know. Like, this is very serious shit. Like, I don't be understanding y'all sometimes. Y'all be stressing me the fuck out. Now, this is the dangerous thing, right? You guys are probably mad as fuck. Maybe you're an astrologer that just picked this shit up because you bought some shit on Amazon. And you're like, oh, I do readings. And okay, that's nice. That's just dangerous. Okay, I'm not gonna say that, you know, a freaking deity could come in your closet and kill you, but I'm saying you're harming other people by acting like you have some sort of power to tell people their destiny. Like, some of them, like, you could tell that they not real astrologers. Like, some of them really just be making me so mad. Like, I remember I had like a sponsor for a astrology app, and I talked to that person. The person was really telling me like little generic shit. I literally banged on them like, bye. Don't be telling people you're gonna be doing readings for them, and then these readings are this fucking trash. Even these royal astrologers, the ones that work for the kings, kings and the queens, the ones that were working as like military aides and stuff, it wasn't like 10, 20, 30 of them. It wasn't something where you can like sit there and go on an app and just find one. Think about it. It's so easy to find them now. And don't say, oh, it's because it's widely accepted now. They don't have to, you know, hide. No. We're not talking about witches, y'all. We're talking about astrology. This is not something that was demonized. Like, people weren't sitting there getting burned at the stake for being astrologists, unless if the astrologist was wrong, they was getting burned at the stake. Okay, now this is something Hitler did. Hitler was very mad when at one point he did seek the counsel of a astrologer and he was wrong, and he burned all their books and then sent the rest of them to concentration camp. This is something that has happened. There has been times where astrologers have been wrong and they have been killed. Those astrologers were fake. This is a real thing. Astrologers have been thought to be fake if they did not predict the right shit. And clearly, if you're not a real astrologer, you're not gonna predict the right shit. This happens all the time. Fake ass astrologers. This is a real thing. You need to be very, very careful who you give your information to, who you're telling your shit to, because they can just manipulate you to get things that they want. They can manipulate you to get other things that whoever it is that they're working for can get what they want, especially back then. So be very, very careful. What I find very interesting is that witches were killed, but astrologers weren't necessarily as bad. I don't know what it is. I would assume, and I would kind of put them in the same bracket. I don't know. Can someone comment down below what the difference is there? Because I mean, I know there's a difference, right? But I feel like they're kind of in the same spiritual, no, they're not in the same spiritual realm now that I think about it. But I still feel like if we're talking about prehistoric times, like, and let me not say prehistoric, that makes them really old, but you guys get the point. But at the same time, I feel like when it comes to those types of people, they were of use, you know, in terms of like they could see the future. I don't think witches could really see the future for the most part, depending on what type of witch you are. Most witches can't really see the future. They can't really tell you who's gonna win a war. They can't tell you who's gonna succeed a throne. So it makes perfect sense in terms of people who can tell the future, people who are astrologers and astronomers or whatever. They're better tools in combat, in kingdoms and stuff like that. They're better tools. So now that I think about it, it makes more sense. Those of you guys who believe in science, yes, I know the law of physics does not support zodiacs or astrology whatsoever. Yeah, I understand. However, I know there's been so many experiments done, and the experiments have basically disproven that a lot of these astrologers have not been able to even pick a damn chart for the right zodiac, which is sad. Okay, I just believe that a lot of those zodiacs are fake, because I really believe that a lot of astrologers these days are not real astrologers. That's just my personal opinion. There have been certain correlations made between the personalities of people and the alignment of certain planets.
In 1953, French psychologist Michel Gauquelin decided to put astrology to his own rigorous test. A skeptic regarding this ancient science, Gauquelin hoped that his expert command of statistics could finally lay to rest the claims of astrologers. To Gauquelin's surprise, his study proved the opposite. There was a statistical correlation between the stars and the personalities and career choices of his subjects. Gauquelin's study showed that a statistically significant percentage of politicians were born when Jupiter, the planet of rulership, was rising at the moment of their birth. The astrological charts of doctors and scientists seemed to be marked by the presence of Saturn, the planet of reflection and study. Mars, the planet of war and courage, showed an above-average presence in the charts of generals, athletes, and business executives.
The fascinating thing about these results were that they were fully in line with traditional astrological understandings of the planets.
The rising of Jupiter aligns with most politicians. The rising of Saturn aligns with scientists and doctors. The rising of Mars aligns with soldiers, athletes, and business executives. And what's crazy about this is it's always been like that since the dawn of time. But what's really going to be interesting is as new things develop, new planets are found, and you know, all of this other stuff comes into fruition, because we all know we're always finding things in space, how that changes things, because there's also a thing called like space astrology, and it changes the perspective of things. With that being said, that's it for this video. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Let me know what your zodiac sign is. Again, like I said before, make sure you guys check out my sponsor. Everything you need is linked down below. Go shop at Ft.Tikone, and most importantly, follow me on Instagram and follow my main channel. And I'm gonna see y'all next time. Bye.